Well, here we are in the palatial palace of one of my friends, known for many, many years, on and off. Mr. Dan Welberry. Hello, Dan.
Hello, mate. Lovely to see you again. It's been a while.
It's been a very long time in some respects. We all sort of went separate ways and stuff like that. But how I got to know you was obviously your involvement with drag racing.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit about that and how you sort of moved to, where you are now.
Yeah.
And how you got into drag racing, really.
Well, it was all my dad's fault. Bless him. He was a huge petrol head as a kid growing up, and he was at the very first drag fest that they had at Blackbush. 64-ish, 65,
64. Billings was another one, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was the one he was at Blackbush, and he just fell in love with the sport. And then as I was a kid growing up, he had a couple of American cars. He had a Barracuda, he had a fastback Mustang that he obviously regrets selling. He ain't got it anymore, unfortunately. And then he took me to the drag racing as a kid. First time I went was Blackbush. I think I was about 10 years old. First couple of times I went, I didn't really get it. I was like, what is this? Two cars, straight line. Didn't really appeal. But the one time, I think it was the third time I went, I saw the funny cars for the first time. And I remember the Panic funny car. And it just blew me away.
The Page car.
Yeah, that was it. And I was like, after that, I was hooked. and I just loved it. And he was a member of the NDRC back in the day. We used to go to what was just Long Marsden Raceway.
Yeah.
Never huge crowds. We were sort of the crowd, I think, at times. We'd have a little tent, and we would be there from Friday through to the last thing Sunday.
Super.
And that's what got me into it. And then I kind of like just loved it. And as a tip through my teenage years, used to go with Dad. It was like, with my dad, some lads go fishing. Yeah. We went drag racing.
Drag racing, yeah.
It's great.
So did you sort of then decide that you was going to do it yourself, or how did you move on from that, really? Being a spectator, really?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm really bad at just watching things from the outside.
Right.
Like whatever it is, I love getting stuck in.
Right.
And I didn't know whether I would have what it takes to race.
Right.
Well, I know one of your questions in a minute. We'll talk a little bit about what I did do or didn't do. But my background has always been in marketing and creative and design. And I was thinking about how can I bring that into the motorsport world, into the drag racing world. And long story short, opportunity came up I got chatting with Andy Carter.
Yes.
In the pits one day, and we were talking about what he was trying to do. This was right at the beginning with the old Runa car that was the silver one.
Yeah.
I can't remember, it had a name or a nickname. But anyway, at that point, and he was just coming back. I think he'd been to the States, come back, was just trying to get back into European drag racing. And we chatted, and he was like, can you help? And so my first sort of job really was to make Andy's team and Carter Motorsport look as professional as possible. So the graphic design came in, we redid all the brand, how it all looked. And then I got involved with sponsorship, procurement, and the marketing side of the team, and PR, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's sort of how I landed getting involved.
And then obviously we've not in the earlier days, I guess, and then obviously you moved in with Lucas Oil and big operation.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun. We went from, I remember back in the day with the silver car, there was a few kind of names on board. And I'm not going to take all the credit for, like the amount of sponsorship we brought in. Andy was amazing at doing that and just chatting to people. But we got into a really good groove of taking every opportunity possible. We would go to Auto Sport every year. And as you probably will remember, we unveiled the first Lucas Oil car at Auto Sport. But we would take every opportunity like that. We would literally go around, we'd be chatting to the people on the stands, just trying to get different sponsorship. I mean, we picked up various names that were on the car just through chatting to people there. We would go off and have meetings, we'd be putting sponsorship proposals out on email, and we worked really hard, and we did pretty well at it over I was with Andy for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think I'm proud to say probably one of his longest standing crew members actually.
Yeah, you would have been.
And we did all right. We had some good times and brought some big brands in.
Yeah, and then obviously you were taking the car into Europe and big Hockenheim races and
we had some great times. I remember Sweden was great fun.
Yeah.
I remember going to racing at Mantorp and going back to what you were asking me, like the early days. Gary Page, so the Panic team, and Gary was there, and I can't remember who he was with at that point, but Sweden was a great event, and we used to we'd go out in the evening as well. And I remember going to a bar that one night with the team, some of the guys from the team, and Gary Page being there, and it was like like when you meet your heroes, and I mean Gary very well, right?
40 years now.
Yeah, there you go. And it was just so amazing to sit there over a beer and just get to know, what this guy doesn't know about drag racing and worth knowing, and what his experience is, and just hearing him talk about what it was like to drive the funny car, and I just, it was amazing. I just remember sitting there thinking, God, come quite away from that Blackbush experience and seeing the Panic car, and there I was sitting having a beer with Gary Page. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, he's a good man. He does what he doesn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Still. I will get around to doing him very soon, I hope. His knowledge is amazing. And I knew Gary when he was obviously the 80s, and he was the lad. He was with Shockwave. No, not Shockwave. Bob Charleston. Showtime, which is now coming back up.
Yeah, which is amazing.
So he was with Bob Jarrett then, and then you had the likes of Harlan and then obviously you had the new boy on the block with Norm Wilding.
I remember all of that.
Yeah.
I tell you, we're talking about going off script here a little bit. We're talking about funny cars.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Santaport for a long time. We used to go to Long Marsden as our preferred kind of meet, and it was all a little bit more low key to the Santaport stuff. And there was Leslie Pryor was a regular there with her funny car, which was the ex-Hound Dog car, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I remember one day kind of arriving, and it seemed like it was a bigger meet than and at that point I didn't really understand the gravity of the different, sportsman meetings and, bigger national meetings. And there was, I remember getting the programme, which in those days was like your black and white photocopied sheets, and there was a picture in there of the yellow Hound Dog Corvette funny car. Didn't know it was yellow because it was black and white photocopy, mate. But I remember looking at that car and that photocopied thing and the programme, and thinking, wow, that is a funny car. I'd never seen it.
Was that Nobby's one?
Yeah, I'd never seen it.
Hills,
it was a Rodney Racer or whatever it was, at the Hillbillies thing on it. It was an unbelievable looking car, John Wolfe Racing one.
John Wolfe, yeah.
Yeah, and it turned out, I remember going through, is that in the event? In there it was. It was going to be at this event, and that funny car for me was just like, that's unreal. That was a beautiful.
Because Dave eventually got involved with Long Marsden to try and bring it forward, didn't he?
That's right. Yeah.
From John
Wolfe.
Right. Yeah.
So the funny cars, they've always held a bit of a special.
It's always been my one.
Yeah.
Ever since I went.
Sorry, Andy, for funny cars.
Yeah, but when I went drag racing, obviously you had. The Wonder guys like Jeff Hauser and coming out in the Sierra and back in the day Sylvia as well, and all them, and that was brilliant.
Yeah.
But then when they came out.
Yeah. And the reason I was thinking about that, because I was thinking, why did I bring that up? Because I remember when Norm Wilding first came with that VW Passat, the black one.
Yeah, Lonsdale car.
That was the one. Yeah. At Long Marsden, and just thinking again, what a car, and just seeing how the funny cars in Europe just became, there was some incredible bits.
Proper, yeah. And that he was out in the States with taught by what's his name? Frank Hawley, yeah,
that's right.
And a few people have been out to Hawley in the current drivers as well now.
Yeah, I think it was your interview recently with Dale Leaks, and he's just didn't he do Frank Hawley as well?
Yeah, he done a nostalgia side, didn't he, originally?
Right.
Yeah, Dale, yeah.
No, it's fantastic. Anyway, we digress. Sorry.
Yeah, so, but at the end of the day, that side of it, obviously. But so from obviously, like myself with the funny cars, you sort of got involved, and then I guess you started to watch the longer cars. the
top fuel cars, yeah.
And it was from being involved with Andy, really, that got you into it, was it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's really weird.
Were you watching the likes of Dennis Priddle and all them at the time?
Dennis was so when I started going, when we eventually made it over to Santa Pod, and like it was like this was a whole different world. You know, seeing the Santa Pod and the fields and what was in those days the World Finals.
Yeah.
And like you say, you mentioned Harlan Thompson earlier and people like that. And obviously Pagey would have driven in those ones. And, you know, then you'd have the Cannonball and everything else.
Well, the Cannonball's very different then because you had all different type of cars racing each other.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. So I was brought up very much as a spectator. I dread to think how many hours I've spent sat on that spectator bank at Santa Pod. And but getting involved, it was a very different experience, and it's very hard when you've been really involved in a team to then go back and be a spectator. So since Andy's retired, I have gone back occasionally, but it's really weird. You just kind of like want to be stuck in. You know, you want to be, and actually again I know we'll come to this in a little bit, but I want to get back to, I'd like to run something myself. And it's sort of unfinished business, I think.
Oh, it's unfinished? Oh, well, that's not very good, is it?
No, it needs to be done. But it won't be top fuel.
No. So, yeah, that's very good. Now, with regards to you and everything else, you really did start off at a grassroots level, really, didn't you? By going to, Blackbush and places like that. And then obviously, back in the day, which you would have known, how Santa Pod has developed now, we used to have like Trev's Cafe, Spit and Sawdust, wasn't it? And that was brilliant.
Yeah, loved it. And I did dabble a little bit in trying to get my own car and stuff together at that point as well. So I was sort of trying to do it. So I had a Pop with a Rover motor in it. Never anything spectacular.
They were great. Everyone had Rover motors in there.
Easy to look after and
Andy had one as well, didn't he?
Yeah. And then so we had this Rover powered Pop, and I used to just do run what you brung with that, just so I experienced a little bit of that. I wasn't very good. I managed to put the car sideways, half track, which was quite interesting, but I managed to keep it on all four wheels.
So no, it didn't hit the walls or nothing.
No, it was heading that way, but I managed to do that. The reverse lockout broke, and I slammed it into reverse at about mid track.
Wow!
And so of course the whole thing just twisted. So that was fun. And then sold that, and then I bought a slingshot dragster. I bought it was the ex. Steph Millam car. Was it She Devil? She used to run.
She had She Devil, which was the. Then she had a She Devil funny car.
That's right. So prior to that, the Slingshot Dragster she had, I bought, which was the yellow and red one. Never did anything with it. I had intentions of really going for that with the Wild Bunch. Then life just didn't work out that way. Had to sell that car. I sold that to a guy, Terry Clifford, who then turned that into the beautiful Ratcatcher Resurrection, which he very successfully ran in Wild Bunch for a long time. And it was always a bit painful when I saw it, because it was like, oh, that was the car that I could have built and finished. So he did that. And then, and then after Andy retired, I sort of stepped out of racing altogether, really, and I've been focusing more on my son coming through, and he wanted to be the next Lewis Hamilton. So it's been a bit of a journey, stepping away from the drag racing world and spending more time in the wider motorsport world. Okay,
so like with Andy's,
with Albert,
I'm hoping to catch up with him, because we were talking about going. We've been to Manston before, but Andy's talking about coming down there.
That's right, because I think Albert's going to race there, isn't he?
Yeah. So that'd be nice. But so these are sort of things. We've already been down there, early doors a bit.
Yeah, I saw your interview with Paul. That looks exciting.
Yeah. Very much. They've done a lot of work down there.
Yeah, looks great.
So are they going to be doing go-karts before, to get, or they want to go straight into like?
So Elijah, my boy, he was kart racing, and he was doing quite well at that. And then we took him into the wonderful world of Ginetta Junior, so the Ginetta series, and he did the scholarship for that. And mate, I think drag racing's expensive. Like, it's a scary world. you know, but he really wanted to do it. He didn't get through in the scholarship to win a paid-for drive, and just the budget was just a little bit, a bit much for me, a bit rich for me, mate.
Yeah.
So that was that, and then he sort of lost heart a little bit, and actually it's been quite interesting. Like the couple of times where he's been drag racing, it's like, I mean, he's 17 now, so I think he's missed the junior slot, but he's quite keen to race and have a go at the drag racing now, which is good.
Yeah.
Which will be cheaper.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But the other thing he's doing is sim racing, and I think sim racing is a great way in for, you know, kids coming through. It's so competitive now, and there's sim leagues, and he's working his way up through.
Really?
He's just got into. He can now drive F3 on the simulator, so he's got quite a setup. And then we're focusing on that. So it'd be interesting to see where it goes.
So the sim side of it is amazing.
Yeah.
So then, would he not be able to go into Formula 3 proper, or it is too expensive?
Well, that's
isn't
the budget.
It's
again,
crazy.
Mate. It's just trying to get in.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a lot that, you know, sim races are being watched, and there's a lot. Well, it's like the Gran Turismo movie, isn't it? The kiddie who gets picked up for sim racing, who gets a real drive, and I think for Elijah that would be. Maybe the hope, that's the dream. I just can't.
But what would he go into now? Sort of Pro ET or something like that?
If he goes drag racing, yeah. Although, we've got a little fun car that we're going to we'll just do some sportsman stuff, sportsman ET. So we've got, we picked it up a couple of years ago, and we're just getting to a point now where we're going to rebuild it this year. We've got a 66 notchback Mustang.
Oh, nice.
It's a nice. I mean, it's nothing major. It's got a 302 in it, and we're just going to go and have some fun. Run what you brung.
Yeah.
Sportsman ET. He'll drive that. I'll drive that. And we'll see where that goes. And you saying about Paul and the no prep stuff, we'll hopefully take the car up and go and do some of that stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if his hunger's there. Yeah.
That's it. That's where. Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a good little track down there.
Yeah, no, I really hope it works out. And
yeah, so
goes beyond the year.
Yeah, and you can do your runway runs at the pod as well.
Absolutely. So a bit of fun. Yeah.
So you've worked with many teams. I know you obviously mentioned Andy earlier on, Andy Carter.
Yeah.
So they must have been exciting times as well, because you worked with Dave.
Did a bit with Dave, yeah.
Dave Grumpy Wilson.
Yeah.
I've never got to the bottom of why that is.
He's not really grumpy.
No, he's not. He's a nice guy.
He's a really nice guy.
What do you want?
I love Dave.
And I will be obviously I couldn't do it when I was supposed to this weekend, but yeah, I want to catch up with him because he's, you know.
He'd be a brilliant person to chat to. Far more interesting and better stories than me. But he, I've had some great times. Like I say, obviously, predominantly my work was with Andy. Did some stuff with Dave as well. We went down to Silverline together when he had all the Silverline stuff going on. I actually got involved a little bit in doing a small bit of sponsorship with Dave too. So did a bit of work with him, and then sort of stepped out of it for a little while. But I did a little bit with Kevin and Shelley and the West 10 team. Did their website a little while back, and some sponsorship work and proposals for them. Yeah. So still speak to them quite regularly.
Yeah, they're a lovely couple.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, I mean, the other thing for me in all of this was I grew up very much from the spectator side, and like that spectator experience has never left me, and so I sort of always wanted to be a bit of an evangelist for the sport. Yeah. So a couple of other opportunities came along. Do you remember the Extreme Wheels show we did at Alexandra Palace?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was involved in that in 2004. That's going back a long way, isn't it? Flipping heck. Yeah. In the early years of that one, and then they did a couple more years at Ali Pali that I wasn't involved with, and then we sort of did a bit of a reboot down at Haynes at the Motor Museum, and we took a load of cars down there and sort of did a. It was great fun because they had the track as well, and we could do some fire the cars up and do some burnouts and stuff. We had things like the Bigfoot monster truck there and all that stuff as well. So that was great. I enjoyed doing that, and sort of still, again, being a bit of an evangelist for the sport, but also writing as well.
So you've got the Haynes. Now this is something else.
A little bit of product placement.
This Top Fuel Dragster. Where? where would you start writing that book?
It's a good question, mate.
Because
Well, I had, through all my sort of marketing and PR work and creative work that I was doing, I had Haynes as a client, and they did the book Crazy Horses.
Yeah.
And I remember
that was with Brian. Was that with Brian Taylor?
That's right. Yeah. And I remember they did like a signing, and there was a load of like names from the past that came to Santa Pod, and they did like the launch of the book there, and I was involved in helping to put that together.
And that was the Allard as well.
Was it Allard?
The Allard Dragster, yeah.
Was that a part of it? Yeah, I think it could have been. Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
Yeah, all the same time. It's a long way back now. My memory's a bit hazy, but yeah, it was. And Haynes was they said they never had a book launch like it. And I've been to a lot, and I remember like being at one, we did one in the Audi Forum in Kentish Town, and there was like Clarkson and Hammond and that there, and that was great, but they were saying the amount of people that were queuing for signatures of the drivers and the interest around the book, and that book did amazingly well. And Haynes, they had an appetite for drag racing, and it was like, so I pitched the idea. Andy was coming to the end of his Top Fuel career at that point, and it was like, well, we've got the car there, why don't we, let's use it. And Andy was a great support in helping to write the book as well, so we thought we'd do the Haynes Top Fuel Dragster manual. Still available on Amazon. I just happened to mention that.
Top Fuel Haynes manual, how to drive. No, put it together.
It does speak about driving.
Put it together.
There's some great interviews in there, like we mentioned Kevin and Shelley earlier on. So Shelley talking about her experiences with driving.
She's actually driven with the Eagle with me in the back.
Oh mate, how was that?
Amazing.
I bet.
Cool. Yeah, lovely. That was a long time ago. That was now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she drove me. Yeah, Shelley, amazing.
Brilliant. So she's one. I think Daryl. Obviously, he did Top Fuel for a little while.
Daryl Bradford.
Yeah, so he's explaining a little bit, just kind of like what it's like to drive, but a lot more of it is the power behind it, or what it's like to drive a.
See, in them days, earlier days, it was only like 6,000 horsepower then, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I reckon it was about 10,000 now.
10 to 12 now.
10 to 12.
Yeah.
Wow. Which is crazy.
Which is a little question we just sort of spoke about beforehand. People obviously like the roundy racing. Formula One. Yeah.
I like the roundy racing too now.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, yes. But with regards to, if you haven't been drag racing, go to Santa Pod Raceway and have a look, and then get blown away with the fuel funny cars, and obviously the top fuel cars, and even the methanol cars. They are fast, but with a top fuel race car, 12,000 horsepower against a Formula One car.
Yeah, so a modern 2025 car, F1 car's putting out about 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
So, obviously they're geared up for the two very different disciplines, but everyone gets carried away with the power and speed of an F1 car, and rightly so. They're, they're incredible cars. But I remember standing on the start line, and you will have had this experience as well, of watching a pair of Top Fuel dragsters accelerate away from you a few feet away. I mean, I made the mistake once. I wasn't ready for it. It was Barry, and I can't remember who else he was. Barry Sheevers, can't remember who was in the other lane, and the pair of them going, and I wasn't ready for it. I didn't have my ear defenders on or whatever, and my hearing's still never been the same since.
No.
Yeah, but watching the power and feeling, I mean, it's just a massive assault on the senses.
Yeah.
And I love F1. Like since we got into the wider, we go to lots of different circuit events and things like that. And we've been lucky enough to go to like the Monaco Grand Prix, we've been to Spa in Belgium, going to Monza this year, and travelling around and watching the racing in Silverstone obviously every year. And it's great, and it's really impressive, and I love it. But it's not the same, mate. It's not as impressive as watching.
It's slightly different. I remember going on the start line with Nick Knowles from telly, when Martin Hill was going.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm interviewing him. He's come up, he's staged. I'm still chanting, this is going to get all right, yeah, no, I'm fine. And when he swore. And that was something else. That was a really, really nice thing to do, that was.
Yeah.
And people like that have never experienced anything like that. And obviously, two top fuel cars side by side.
Oh, it's incredible. And do you know what I love as well? Like, just talking about, because I feel like I'm very much coming in this interview as a drag racing evangelist. Like, you know, for people who might be watching this who've never been.
Yeah.
And all I would say is you have to go just to experience it. It's incredible. I love, because we've gone into the broader world, so I'm, you know, a member at Goodwood and all of that stuff. So whenever we go to things like that and drag racing is present, it's the drag cars that attract the attention. We're going to Festival of Speed, and they're like, you know, in the past we've had some drag cars there. People are blown away by it. They're fire up in the pits. They've never experienced anything like it.
No, you've had Gladiator down there before,
right.
yeah.
That's right. Or if you go to Revival and you've had Wayne Allman's been there with his V-dub and things like that, and people are just like, what is this? It's incredible. But more recently, like, we go to every year the Silverstone Festival they do on the August Bank Holiday weekend, and in the last couple of years Santapod have been asked to put together a big display there, and this last year they had the Speed Ghost funny car there, which obviously is now going to be Showtime. Who else has been there? They've had promo, they've had everything, and like a really good mix, and the fire. Hayward, I've forgotten his Christian name, Owen's son, with the nostalgia funny car.
Owen Hayward, yes.
They've been there with their funny car, firing it up, and the work that's going into like spreading the word of drag racing, and the Roundy boys, just kind of like fans watching all this, just being blown away by it. It's like, it's so good, and I'm sure that doing those kind of things has got to be bringing more people in to come Santapod.
That's one of the things that we're trying to do as well. I mean, obviously, I love the sport, and you can't come away from it. Once you're in it, and you know, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
You know, you can't put it into perspective for someone who hasn't been there. Even like you're saying, if you went into like Sportsman ET, there was still that massive bug there. Yeah,
totally. And it's weird whenever time we go to Santapod, because I've been there so many times over the years. It is weird, like you have that sense of coming home, you know, like, you know, you've got so many memories, so many you've seen. I mean, Keith and the team have done an incredible job of like how they've taken the circuit and the facilities on circuit, you know what I mean? Sorry. Yeah, taking it on
quarter mile.
That'll be the one. And developed it into what it is now, and it's incredible. But I remember it wasn't always like that. It was all a bit more spit and sawdust, like you were saying earlier on. But like seeing the development of the site and everything, and so many wonderful memories. And it's like whenever time I go, it's like coming home.
Yes, you go back in them days. Even had a hospitality bus.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, the blue bus.
Yeah, that was it. God, you're lucky if you go on top deck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know, mad, isn't it? Because you know, we used to look at our studio was at this end of the town if you're looking up from the track. Yeah. And that was all camping just all around there. Yeah. Wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, camped around there a few times.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, they were good days. But yeah, so no, and it has improved it so much. Yeah. And it is very much a corporate arena now as well.
Yeah, and like I said, because we've been around a lot of different places, I think, you know, they do a great job, and like their corporate packages and hospitality and all of that stuff is up there with what you'd experience when you go to
Formula One, but cheaper.
Well, a heck of a lot cheaper, mate. Don't go there flipping heck.
No, but anyway. Yes, definitely. So, where are you taking your sort of interest in the motorsport now? And
well, my passion is huge for motorsport and everything else, and what I would still want to do is going back right to the beginning, really, like I did with Andy, is offer services to the motoring, drag racing, motorsport world, and you know, and that's the plan. You lost your questions.
That's okay. I'm fine now. I'm pretty much.
We can just talk.
I've got it. Yeah, no, that's fine.
We can just talk. It's
no,
fine.
I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of looking. So I'm, you know, a bit of branding. Let's say Tide.
Yeah.
We're gonna. So Tide.marketing.
Yeah.
That's so Vicky, my partner, and I. That's what we're doing now. We're just kind of pushing into launching that, and we're going to be sort of offering full creative design, web design, graphic design, marketing services, looking into all kinds of new tech, digital animation, video, all that stuff. And we've only just kind of relaunched the brand, or we're just in the throes of launching it now.
So is that like going AI then?
We're looking at how to use AI to a degree, how to use it well. But for us, it's about keeping it real. Real people doing real creative, real marketing, the stuff you feel and that you get excited
and living
by.
with it,
Yeah, exactly. And so so if there is any teams out there that want some help, and I'll still, I love going after sponsorship and sponsorship procurement and all that side and putting packages together.
I'm sure that there's people, certainly in the drag racing world, that would possibly chat to you and get some help and all that. As you say, you've sort of helped, obviously Andy Carter, big time, and then obviously now Kevin and Shelley and so West 10 and so on.
But like I say, so that's what the hope is going forward, and who knows where it goes. I had no idea in that little chat with Andy all those years ago that was going to lead to a 10-year sort of relationship with the team and some incredible times and stories. So.
Absolutely. So now you are talking about building this car. When's that likely to be coming out?
I would say that I would love to have the car out this summer.
Right.
That's the plan. I mean, it could run now, but I want to do. There's a few more bits and pieces I want to do to get it together. I mean, it's in the trailer outside at the moment, and but summer I think comfortably will be ready to go.
And what's in it? What's the motor in it?
It's just a 302, mate. It's nothing exciting.
Just still over 100 miles
an hour. Holly carb on there, and just 15-inch rears, and she's ready to go. I think. We're just gonna have some fun.
Go out there and have a play.
Exactly. And again, this whole sort of drag racing evangelism thing I'm talking about, we're going to take it to a few places. Obviously, where we are now, we're not far from Bewley. There'll be various events and car events and things that hopefully we can take the car to, and we'll be.
Bewley's amazing, isn't it?
Love it, mate. Absolutely love it. Yeah.
It's a huge place.
Yeah, we were there only last week.
So they was doing some of the rebuild of the Allard down there as well.
Yeah,
the Allard Dragster. Yeah.
I mean, and I remember obviously all the work, like you mentioned earlier on, about the Allard Dragster. Obviously that's there front and centre. You've got Dave's methanol car, Silverline colours all up on the wall at Bewley as well. And there's a few other nods towards drag racing and stuff as you wander through.
Just one other book you'd written was this one.
Yeah, that was a book that Andy, we sort of self-published that one.
Look at them two there, look.
Oh no, don't look at that. That's such a terrible photo.
So that's the book there.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows Andy, it says on the back here, sums him up really in 2 words: competitive and tenacious.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That is it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the book.
Yeah, I don't know if you can still get them. I've got a couple of them kicking around.
King of
Europe.
There we are. And that's a good book, written by you two.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I haven't seen one of them for a long time.
No.
But no.
I don't think it's come off my bookshelf for a long time either.
No. It's every night.
Oh yeah. Bedtime reading. I'll read my book again.
Yeah. You went straight to sleep. No.
And then I read this one in the morning.
That's it. Yeah. Just to say, go and get a spanner out and walk off your trot.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great to catch up with you. The work that you put in, and I remember going into the pits down there, and he goes, go and speak to Dan and this, that, and the other, and then obviously you had Tina as well, and all around, and Sarah and everyone else. It was great, and it was a very, very, very professional pit.
It was, wasn't it? And that was always the thing, and like what we always wanted to try and do. And Andy's heart was it was easy. That was his goal as well, to be as professional as possible, to present a professional team, so that when we were going after the big money, that they knew they were buying into guys who were serious and looked right and could represent their brand well. And I think that's what we
had a good team there, one with the Andersons as well.
It was brilliant.
That was a good setup there as well.
I tell you what I loved about that as well, because you had their rig and our rig, and we had like the car under their rig, and then we would have Andy's there, which gave us the space for we could do all the hospitality sort of down the side, and you could come and sit with us as guests and like be looking at watching what was going on.
I remember sitting there one. I felt very important. Very important.
You were very. You always important.
No, it's that bloke in that red shirt.
That's it. The
Send
red
him
shirt.
the
Yeah.
red shirt. Send
Yeah, I
him
remember
my
that.
way, yeah. I ain't got time to talk to you today.
We always had time for you, mate.
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, so they were all good times and everything. You know, it's once you get it in your blood, and you know, obviously circumstances changed, and I did find it hard to go back, but I did go back, and then you know, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
And Lisa's obviously been up there a few times now and enjoy it. So yeah, it's good.
Great.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we covered most things. Is there anything else you want to add now?
No, mate, it's just been really lovely. I was really surprised when you said, well, let's have a chat, because I know that obviously the other people you're talking to are some amazing racers, and I've loved watching the podcasts that you've done so far. So when you said, oh, let's have a chat to you, I'm like, oh, I don't really know what I can bring. But hopefully it'll be interesting just to kind of to see what, you know, experience from the other side as a spectator, getting involved a little bit.
Yes.
And I just very quickly, I suppose that goes back to the whole thing about the wonders of drag racing, the open pit, the friendly environment.
People don't realise that. If you've never been before, you go round the pits.
Yeah.
And if the team have got time, and there's always someone else in the team who will talk to you
Absolutely.
and run through it all with you. That's right from the junior dragsters to the top level.
Absolutely.
And you know, you'll be surprised how friendly the people are.
Oh, I think it's incredible. And had that dynamic not existed, I wouldn't have been able to speak to Andy.
No.
You know, all that time ago. And I love that. It's just sorry, as you were talking about it, I was thinking, I remember, you know, like Chris Hartnell and Wild Bunch. As a lad, he won't remember this, I'm sure. But, you know, like him inviting me to, do you want to have a sit in the car? You know, just wandering around the pits and come and have a sit in the car. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You went in Freddie's Revenge, didn't you?
Yeah, and that's such an incredible thing. So, yeah, mate, I hope that, you know, like I say, I was a spectator for years and years and years, fell in love with the sport, managed to get involved, hugely privileged, met some incredible people along the way. Miss it terribly.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe we'll get stuck.
So Dan the Evangelist.
That's it, mate.
Yeah. Hallelujah. We're there.
Bring it on.
It's been a fantastic. Thank you very much, Dan.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming down. Really appreciate it.
And we'll revisit you another time when you're doing other bits and pieces. And
Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah, fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome.